We're almost finished, Jim. We're almost finished. Tell me more about... Good afternoon. It's a beautiful sunny afternoon here in Fort Lauderdale, and I'm thrilled to welcome Jason Mansfield, who's the head of U.S. operations for Knight Frank in association with Douglas Elliman. And I understand that later this year we have a very important 10-year anniversary between Knight Frank and Douglas Elliman.
We do indeed.
So Jason, tell us all about that, please.
Well, thank you for having me here today. It's super exciting to be here in Fort Lauderdale, especially on such a beautiful day.
It's gorgeous
nothing,
out there.
Nothing better than Fort Lauderdale on a sunny day. But we are indeed celebrating a birthday this year. So Knight Frank and Douglas Elliman have been working together off and on since 1920. And we went through, as you know, a world war and then a couple other wars, and we were kind of on again, off again. In 2014, we actually formalized a strategic alliance with Douglas Elliman. And what that means is that everything that we do in the US, we do through Douglas Elliman. Anywhere in the US, it's only with Douglas Elliman. And anything that Douglas Elliman does around the world, it's through Knight Frank.
And this is a very important aspect. When I sold my private brokerage and decided to join with Douglas Elliman, Knight Frank was a key component for me because I genuinely wanted to have a global reach for the sellers and buyers of real estate that I work with. And I knew that Knight Frank was extremely well recognized in London. And many of my customers are all over the world. So knowing that I could confidently state that these beautiful homes, like the one that we're sitting in this afternoon, would be promoted globally was extremely important to me. So Jason, maybe you can touch on that and explain how, when I list a home like this, what exactly happens within the Knight Frank network?
So Knight Frank is a pretty big operation. We're really well known in Asia, in Europe, in the Middle East, but not so much in the US because, as you know, we do everything through Douglas Elliman. You can't just show up in the US, plant your flag and say, I'm selling real estate. It doesn't work like that. So we are very well known around the world, and the great thing about your properties and all the Douglas Elliman properties is that you put it in the computer today, it's on the website tonight, it feeds over, 9 a.m. in the morning, it'll be on the knightfrank.com website. And that website is translated into 60 languages, and it's just an automatic process that means that all the properties that you have will be appearing in our global market, so that when someone in Hong Kong, someone in Sydney, someone in the Philippines, you name it, Dubai, London, when they're on our site searching for properties, your properties will show up.
And I actually had a very good experience of this recently, because here in Fort Lauderdale, I have a couple of customers who have homes in London, Dubai, and Fort Lauderdale. And I also had a customer who was relocating to Dubai, and I was able to introduce him to a card holder in Dubai, Andrew Cummings, who was just a delight to work with. Tell me a little bit about how agents qualify to be Knight Frank card holders.
Well, Knight Frank card holders around the world, they're Knight Frank employees. So we are all employees, and we have one central database with all of our contacts on it. We have direct access to 31% of Forbes billionaires, and we know our clients very, very well. Well, I can tell you for sure, they are coming by the busload to the UK. I work with a very prominent education consultant, and this guy is getting kids into Eton, to Winchester, and to Harrow. And I had lunch with him a couple weeks ago, and I said, where are your clients coming from these days? He said, 50% are American. I said, oh, that's interesting. How was that pre-COVID? And he said, oh, 25, 30%.
But all of this proves, doesn't it, Jason, how mobile wealth is today, how the market is changing, how people are a lot more nimble, and they're willing to go and experience living in different countries, and how education obviously remains extremely important.
Education definitely does. I mean, there are many markets where the education system is exceptional. The UK, of course, is chief among them, but you know, when you look around the world, it's not just education that is driving American purchases, it's lifestyle. So yes. Americans are absolutely in love with Portugal with Italy, very big Americans buying in Paris. That global connectivity, we've never seen it before in the history of the globe. And I think it's really exciting because the markets that Americans want to be in, we're there.
Yes, it's hugely exciting for sure. Now you are visiting throughout the United States, so tell us a little bit about your experience so far and where else you're going to go between now and May.
So I've been in Florida this week, bouncing around between Palm Beach and Miami and Naples. Next week I'm in New York City. We have 11 Knight Frank colleagues. We're flying over 11 people to do a wealth report launch in New York with Douglas Elliman. I have a series of meetings with different banks. And then after that I'll be in Texas, visiting the offices, Douglas Elliman offices there, and then California after that.
Excellent. So those are all states that we see people moving to Fort Lauderdale from.
Exactly.
So that's very exciting for sure. Let's touch on the wealth report because we all look forward to receiving this report. It's so crammed with content that is fascinating and we could talk about for hours. And it's a very important resource to track where money is moving and how the buying habits of the ultra high net worth individuals. Why don't you tell us a little bit about this wealth report, please, Jason?
Yeah, so this is the 18th anniversary of our wealth report,
Very
the
nice.
18th edition. And people say, well, why do you make this report? And the reason is, Knight Frank is in the relationship business. Knight Frank clients have been Knight Frank clients for generations. We really need to know our clients inside and out. What makes them tick? Are they interested in cars? Are they interested in wine? Do they like Portugal? Have they always thought about buying a wine estate in Italy? So the better we can know our clients, the better off we'll all be. We developed this report to really understand every year, to take a look at what ultra high net worth individuals are thinking and feeling and planning to do with their money. What philanthropic interests do they have? Their wine collection, has it gone up in value or down in value? What luxury collectibles are people interested in these days? And I think a few things came bubbling to the surface this year. One of them is that best-in-class properties will achieve a best-in-class price, just like luxury goods. So the value of whiskey came off, it went down this year. The value of diamonds came down this year. The collective value of wine went down. But actually, there are some record prices. So we had a record price for a blue diamond this year, record price for a Macallan bottle of scotch. We had a record price for a Ferrari classic cars, even though the collective value of classic cars went down, there was a record price. And what it shows us is best-in-class products will achieve a best-in-class price. And it has a read-through to real estate, that when you have a special asset in a special location, you'll get a special price.
Absolutely, and that is consistent story throughout the world and through international real estate. You also mentioned to me that there are some very interesting facts that underpin the growth of wealth, especially with younger people. Tell me a little about that, please.
Yeah, one of the interesting statistics this year, 81% of Gen Z females plan to expand their real estate portfolio over the next year. Because we have so many good connections with family offices, with investment banks, with lawyers around the world, we are able, every year we go in, we ask them, what are your clients thinking about? And their Gen Z clients, 81% of their female Gen Z clients are planning to acquire property this year. And I think that shows that a lot of times people in older generations, they want to see their balances on a piece of paper, in a bank statement in a lot of cases. Whereas Gen Zs are more interested in luxury collectibles and in real estate. And so, yeah, that was an interesting statistic this year.
And there's so much more flexibility in terms of where people work now. People have learned to work remotely, they're working hybrid, they're working in different states, they can work in different countries. It's really fascinating, Jason. So I'm excited to hear how 2024 unfolds for Knight Frank and Douglas Elliman. I really appreciate you explaining how Knight Frank functions globally and for introducing the wealth report. And if anyone would like a copy of the report, please please reach out to me and we can send it to you digitally or in paper form.
And at knightfrank.com/wealth report.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Jason. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks.